Happy to be part of our crowd virtual conference, everyone. And Seagate is really not new to Israel. Back in February, our CEO, Dave Mosley, launched our innovation lab at Tel Aviv, Life Labs. And we're happy to be back here. For those who are not familiar with Seagate, let me give you a bit of an overview about Seagate very quickly. Let me close this so then people can see. Seagate creates and enables the data sphere. We ship about 1 exabyte of data per day. It's a lot of data. If you use data and you create data, most likely you have used our storage products. Data is really the DNA of our brand. Today, I will share with you a few things. One, how data is being used to fight COVID around the globe. And secondly, how we, Seagate, address that too. Let me move the slide. With over 8 million confirmed cases and 450,000 global deaths, the world is truly in an epic war with this COVID virus. A lot of data are needed to understand what's going on, and a lot of data should be shared globally for public safety awareness and management. A lot of data comes from all the common data sources, which is the confirmed cases and the global death, but also GPS analysis data, digital thermometer data, and video surveillance data that collects also movement of people around the world. All this data are very helpful, and they are aggregated and shared through the various dashboards around the world. And one of the famous one that you can see here is Johns Hopkins COVID-19 real-time world map data. This is the basic example of how data is being used to fight against the COVID. Secondly, data can also be used to create standardized benchmarks for safety and government responses at regional or global level. With more than 500 data sources, this group called Deep Knowledge Group had created a data-driven framework to assess public safety. And Israel was actually called out as #1 country for safety, so congratulations to Israel. This data is not just broken down by country, city, and region, but also based on 4 different types of clusters: quarantine efficiency, monitoring and detection, government management efficiency, and then the last thing is emergency treatment readiness. This is actually very helpful for any citizen to understand the safety level of where they live, but also to the location where they want to travel in the future. In addition to the global reporting and benchmarking, the data also spur a lot of innovation for new applications in mobile and solutions. The innovation for contact tracing apps, as an example, in the last 2 months are just amazing. It's increasing dramatically as countries and regions or even counties are trying to race and create their own contact tracing apps. I think approximately about 30 tracing apps have launched recently, and they are either using GPS methodology or Bluetooth technology using the Google and Apple API. Another good example is Fitbit. The wearable Fitbits, they actually collect a lot of our body symptoms, and they can warn us about potential sickness before even we know it. Fitbit approximately has about 100 million devices sold globally. So the amount of data collected is huge. And the value of data truly comes from that scale. The more scale that we have, you can tackle a much higher order problem, especially if the data is shared, because if the data are shared, and more information can be done through various analysis. That's why enabling the data movement is critical. Data definitely needs to move in order to allow that interconnectedness with various data that will enable the insight that could be powerful. And of course, a big part of the fight is really finding the main weapon, which is the vaccine and the drugs. In the past, vaccine development is really siloed, and it will take about 10 to 20 years to invent one vaccine. But with this pandemic, it has accelerated the evolution and adoption of global scientific methodologies. In January alone, the scientists in China and Australia, they collaborated and they had created more than 3,000 mutations of the virus in 1 month, and that's very helpful in jumpstarting the vaccine development. So global sharing of data is truly being utilized here. I think we all agree today that innovation is more important than ever in fighting for this COVID together. Data, again, is Seagate DNA. That's what we do. And we truly believe in the power of data to enable innovation, especially in a difficult situation like this. So Seagate has partnership with 3 different big organizations. One is Open COVID Pledge. This is a global pledge that removes IP barriers to innovation. And what Seagate has done, we granted free access to all Seagate patents. Second, with Folding at Home, which is a large-scale open research collaboration, Seagate has contributed multiple resources from storage, compute, and developers. And lastly, Vent19, which is an MIT-driven open source project for low-cost ventilators. What Seagate has provided is manufacturing expertise for high-tech and low-cost solutions, so then we can create affordably the low-cost ventilators. Today, COVID is really defining the new normal. Not everyone, though, was ready for the shutdown and the remote working situation. Businesses that are not digital intrinsically and don't have digital presence strongly, they're going to suffer the most through the pandemic. Even large corporations like Seagate, we face our own unique challenges to keep the business going. An agile and IT infrastructure that are flexible is a must. And the access to company data and application anytime, anywhere, is also critical. The data sharing collaboration in real time also becomes a vital thing in order to continue our business going. So what do we do as a business to sustain our workforce? Our CIO, Ravi Naik, has shared publicly on how Seagate IT has been able to address and adapt to this challenge. We've spread out employees 40,000 across 20 countries and multiple different type of facilities. The action taken is ranging from enabling collaboration globally all the way to trying to figure out how to use data to enable factory and supply chain going. Factories especially are very much needing ongoing resources. We have been successful in using data-driven model to basically determine the most absolute number critical staffing needed on the factory floor at a given time, and then separating them and applying work process and model that will keep them safe while they're at the floor. In the same time, non-essential workers and non-factory workers, they're continuing their work remotely without interruption. We have seen and heard various examples of innovation, all of which will not be possible without data. Data, again, is very critical, not just for innovation, but also for business growth, especially in the era of digital transformation. As business grows, and also as startups trying to scale, data management is not a luxury, it's actually a requirement. Crisis situation will only intensify that requirement. So to better understand the extent of data management challenges, Seagate actually partnered up with IDC to produce this study, Rethink Data. The study found that even data growth trending 175 petabytes by 2025, a lot of the data capture are not utilized or exploited. And this is due to the difficulties in managing high volumes of data across multiple locations. This study has targeted about 1,500 C-suite level, CIO, CTO, CEO, all the way to the solution architect. So we will share this publicly in July in our website, seagate.com. I recommend you to come and download it to help you understand more about these challenges. In conclusion, let me highlight again that it is important for us to be part of this fight against virus. Data does drive innovation, but innovation does not happen in silo. It is the work of collaboration. And for Seagate, we truly believe in partnership. LifeLab Israel, our innovation lab, was open to draw on the rich ecosystem of innovation and partnership, not just to bring value to it, but to learn together from everybody. So we welcome your collaboration. Please come and talk to us anytime. Thank you. I'm open for question now.
All right, thank you, Rose. This is Rags. So I had a question that come through in private to me. So this asks about the value, the big size of data that we showed in the beginning. Like, how do you know the value of data? Is big really big? Is more really better?
Sure. So the value of data is definitely undoubtedly untapped. As you can see that through our prelim report data that I showed you, a lot of the data captured are not exploited. And from our study and from what we know, even for our own data, we do know that the more companies deploying AI, the more data intensive the AI will require to get better. Our factory, for example, they're using AI for a lot of the application, and they have seen that the more data they use to better the model of the machine learning, it jumps to a higher degree of accuracy. So the more data is needed, the better your application will be, and the more value that it will create application-wise to the users that are using your product. Because more data is needed, I do think that all businesses need to think about how to store more efficiently, as well as not just storing, because data needs to move, as we have talked about. So managing the data as it's moving and as it's being stored is critical. And to do that efficiently, enterprise really need a solution for data management that is secure and flexible, as well as efficient.
Thank you, Rose. So this next question is on our some of the 3 slides that you showed, the 3 different projects that we are working on. The question is, like, is this the first time Seagate is involved in an initiative like this, or has there been other things in the past?
Seagate have been involved in multiple different type of partnership, but for the pandemic, because it is an unprecedented type of a situation for a lot of businesses, I would say this is the first time we joined collaboration in this kind of scale with these 3 different organizations. But we had other partnerships for different things. For example, for Data for Good, we had collaborated with an organization called SciArc that preserved data for a lot of historical sites. And one of the interesting, cool example was that I believe a couple of years ago, we collaborated with them to preserve the gateway of India in Mumbai, which is a very interesting, monumental, historical site in India that needs to be preserved digitally so more people can see and understand the history behind it, but also to protect it from the ruin, we can actually share it digitally at any time, everlasting.